Hi, this is Vicky, also known as Dragonfly7673. It is 6:40 and July 7th. This has been a crazy day all around at work. My son and my mom had a weird day, and it's just been, yeah, I'm hoping podcasting settles things out. I do have stuff to show you, so that's good. This week was my birthday. Saturday, the 4th of July was my birthday. And, we had a quiet weekend. It was a nice weekend. We spent it with Mom and AJ, and, normally best friend has to work on Friday. And I had mentioned last recording that he was thinking about canceling class, and if he did, we would go see Terminator movie with my mom and my son. And he did. Because it was so close to the holiday, there wasn't a lot of people that could go anyway. And over the week, he kind of made his decision that unless somebody had a really good reason they wanted to hold the class, he was going to cancel it, and we were going to do the family thing. So, which I really, really appreciate. So it was nice. We went to go see Terminator, and we really enjoyed it. And the best part was, well, Mom doesn't like 3D movies. They don't mix well with the type of glasses she has to wear. So, and in town, the little small theater, it only has three screens. So they try just to show 3D most of the time so that, you know, people will still come to the small town theater. Well, those are the ones you can't see. And they tend to show the 2D ones at around 2 o'clock. Well, that wasn't going to work time-wise. So we went to Madison, and when we went to Madison, we actually went to one of the new, well, we tend to always go to the Marcus, which now, if you live where Marcus is, which I think is kind of a Midwest chain, they have, a lot of the theaters have the big leather recliners, which are really comfortable. You can get reserved seats, so you're not fighting ahead of time. You're not fighting for the crowds to try and find a seat. And the one we went to was actually a bistro. So they actually, like, you sat down and the waiter came and they took your order and they brought you your food. And we had pizza for our movie. So, and Mom really looked like she just enjoyed herself. I mean, the movie was fun. The whole experience was fun. It was good. So, and because we were, where'd I put it? I've moved things several times. Because we were going to the theater and I finished my last pair of Twitchy socks, I had to start a new pair. So Friday morning, because we weren't in a big rush to leave, Friday morning, I started a new pair of Twitchy socks. And in order for me to work on them in the theater, they have to be past the toe. So that I'm not having to think about increasing and stuff like that. So I worked on these in the morning, then in the theater, and then during fireworks on Saturday. So now every now and then, Jasmine of the Knitmore Girls, I don't listen to them all the time. I really struggle with audio podcasts. Actually, I've been struggling with podcasts altogether, but I'll tell you that in a minute. Jasmine of the Knitmore Girls has talked about how she just gets like tons done in the movie theater. I don't knit as fast in the movie theater as I do when I'm knitting when I can see what I'm doing. Because in the movie theater, I'm actually, let's see if I can show you. When I'm in the movie theater in the dark, I slide the needle along a little bit and feel for the next stitch. And then I stitch that one. And then I feel for the next stitch. So that just slows down the process. And I'm not super slow, but I'm not nearly as fast as I am when I can see it. So, but don't usually make mistakes in the movie theater. Every now and then, I will actually count aside and see if I'm still at 36 stitches, which was what most of my Twitchy socks are 72 around, because I knit fairly tight. So there should be 36 on a side. So every now and then I'll actually count aside. Now you would think I would count aside and then count another side. That never happens because by that point I get caught up in the storyline again. So periodically I count aside. It's possible that I could go through an entire movie and only count one side because I don't keep track. But I'm guessing that sooner or later it's the house phone. We never answer the house phone. I'm guessing that sooner or later I managed to count both of them. Sometimes I will find I have gained an extra stitch because somewhere along the way I got one on the edge where I didn't quite bring it over and I created an extra. I usually knit two together and move on. So, they're Twitchy socks. They're just tubes. They have no patterning. I don't worry about it. In fact, I probably have, I'm sure in this one I have one. Yeah. Right here. There's a knit two together because at some point I gained an extra stitch, and so there's no visible hole. I think I caught it on the very next round, so I think I even like picked up the stitch and twisted it, and it doesn't matter. And yes, I did that in the dark, but okay, so new Twitchy socks, Knit Picks Felici. The name is something like cochineal. I believe it's either a berry or a bug that is used in dyeing, if I'm remembering right. I did not look it up, so if it turns out that it's something totally different, I apologize. So, Twitchy socks for theater, fireworks. That's the only time I worked on those. Like I said, I started the toe in the morning before we left. I was driving, so there's no knitting there or back, but then it's just those two times. I also worked on pretty much just during conference calls again, and I haven't had a lot of those lately. I did work on the scarf. I didn't show it last time, but I had worked on it some. This marker is from the last time you guys saw it, so really in 2 weeks that's all I got done. I will admit to being a little discouraged when I thought I was like 75% done, and then I actually weighed the scarf and the ball of yarn that's remaining and realized that no, I am only about halfway. So it's okay. It's still, I took it, you know, to the work party. I use it during conference calls. It's fine. I also worked on, I worked some on my brioche hat. So last time you saw it, I had just barely started the brioche, so you couldn't tell it all. Now you can see the difference between the regular rib and the brioche rib here. And I'm actually looking on the back and seeing that I made a mistake somewhere. Right there, there's a loop right here. That shouldn't be there, but it's on the inside, so I don't care. Most people won't notice it anyway. And that's probably because it's on the inside is why I didn't notice it until just now when I was looking. But anyway, you can see this squishy brioche rib on top. Now, it does feel like it grows slower. I haven't actually paid attention to see if it really grows slower, but it feels like it grows slower than a regular hat pattern. But actually, the only thing keeping me from working on it is the fact that it's supposed to be summer. Now, it's not very warm outside, but it's supposed to be summer. And so I really am struggling to work on a hat. But I think it'll be good once it's done. And it will match the scarf I made a few years ago. So then I'll have a set. So the other thing I worked on was the Circles in the Sun. That's that new, my instant gratification crochet along, where you get one square a week. This was the last one I showed you, and this is the new one. So that's together. There will be 9 total. We don't know, of course, what they look like, but yeah, they'll get joined together into a 3x3 square, and then you can use it to attach to a throw pillow as like an applique. So the idea of, I misstated something last time. I was talking about overlay crochet and said it was when you stitched on top. This is one version of overlay crochet where I stitched that chain on top. However, a lot of overlay crochet, you're knitting in the back loop so that later you can knit in the front loop, like these blue spikes are actually knit in the front loop to attach, so you have a place to anchor those spikes. And the same with these clusters for the petals. They are actually started here and then attached to the front loops down here. That's the overlay crochet, is being able to work on top of your other stitches. So first two, and she said the first one would be the easiest. I did the second one. The second one took me longer, but not because of the pattern. Well, one part because of the pattern. The middle of this was originally the same color as the middle of this, and I thought it was weird, and I should have checked. And then later I got to this outer petal here that's on top, and it was the same color as the center, and I was like, that doesn't feel right, and it didn't match what was showing in the pictures. So I went to Ravelry, and sure enough, somebody had actually mentioned it, and the designer from the time I had printed the pattern, and when I checked, had changed and said, really, this was supposed to be, the center was supposed to be a different color, and it had gotten copied and pasted wrong. So, like I said, I was just about to start this, so I ripped it all out, redid it with the center, and I thought about keeping it, but it didn't have the same look, so I went ahead and redid it so it would be what it should be. And what happened is I ripped it all out, and then I just used the yarn to redo because the gray was right, the dark purple was right, and then and the light pink was correct, and then this yarn, this coral color, was actually the yarn I had used in the center, so nothing got wasted. So I've been thinking about why I've been enjoying crocheting so much lately, and it's been this kind of thing, this and the Sophie, and to me, it feels like you're coloring with a coloring book. Like you pick another color and you do a neat design, and it just kind of builds, and it's pretty, and I like knitting, but I don't think it has quite the same play factor. I mean, you can do color work, but it's not, I don't know. Like I said, I had a thought the other day that this reminds me of coloring in a coloring book, and that's kind of stuck with me, that yeah, that's it. That's what I'm enjoying about these. Speaking of the Sophie, I am working on round 12, and it has 4, I'm working on part 12. It has 4 rounds. I have finished 3 of the 4 rounds. I thought I would get further yesterday, except for our internet it was going, and it had been fine, then it broke. So I spent a long time yesterday fixing it before I could finally sit down and crochet and watch Netflix. And then partway through an episode on Netflix, it crashed again, and so then I futzed with it, and last night it didn't want to fix, and I was irritated, and so I didn't finish all that I had been planning to finish yesterday. But last week I told you that it had started to become a corner. The purple had been there, and it was now has 4 corners. Well, this new bit here just adds to the completeness of the corner. So it has one more round in this part, which I will probably do tonight. Maybe I have to spin. Which brings me to my next thing. Tour de Fleece started on 4th of July. Tour de France started on 4th of July, and Tour de Fleece goes with it. And my personal goal, not tied to any teams, is to spin 15 minutes a day on something. So on July 3rd, I got out my spindle and a project that I have not worked on in years. I actually looked in Ravelry. It has been 2 years almost since I worked on this. The last time I touched it was November of 2013. So not quite 2 years, but, you know, getting there. And I had stopped because I had gotten so far on one cob. It's basically when you fill the spindle, it makes a cob, which is this. And this was as far as I got. And the spindle wasn't spinning very well anymore. But I didn't want to lose the continuity of the color because it's a gradient. It's a fiber optic gradient. So you can see it started with, you can sort of see it started with a yellow and went to a green and then to a darker green and then a bright blue. And then it had started on a navy. Well, I decided I really wanted to finish this. I wanted to get it off. I wanted to work on my spindle. So I took this and all I did was, this is a knitting needle. It's a DPN. I just lined it up like this and slid the cup right off the spindle onto this. And then because I don't want to lose it, I've been carrying it in a Ziploc bag. Because I don't want it to unravel. So I'm trying to be careful with it. And then I started the next part. So this was already done. It just needed to get taken off the spindle. On the 3rd, I spun some on this because I wanted to prep and I wanted to, it's been a long time since I used any spindle, not just this one. So I wanted to see, could I do it? Was it going to be frustrating? Was I going to need to make a new plan? Because some of the reason I wanted to do the spindle was also because we're going to be traveling and I'm not planning on taking my wheel. So spindle, it was fine on the 3rd. I worked on it for a while. And then on the 4th, I believe I spun at home before we left on this. I know it was on this, but I must have done it before we left. And then on Saturday, we were at Mom's house, and she's got that beautiful closed-in porch now. So I sat outside for a while with the animals all around me, and best friend was there too, and spun some more on this. So Saturday, I got my... Yes. Oh, no. Okay, so Friday was the 3rd. I spun on this well before we even left. That's what it was. I'm really sorry. So I spun on this first thing in the morning because I was actually up at 6:30 in the morning because my brain is stupid and doesn't know it can sleep in on Saturday. Well, I normally get up at 5:45, so I guess sleeping in until 6:30. But I actually woke up and then I really, really tried hard to stay asleep. And at 6:30 was when I gave up. So I was up. So I spun on this. After best friend got up, I kept spinning on this a little bit, but then I started the Twitchy socks. That was all Friday. Saturday was the 4th, the first day of Tour de Fleece. That's the day I sat out on the porch. All right. And then Sunday I did something else. And then yesterday, Monday, I spun for half an hour on this. So I will post Tour de Fleece pictures. Actually, let me post them here. Some of the other pictures I'll post at the end, but let me post the Tour de Fleece ones here. All right, so that was the spindle spinning, and I had mentioned that that was a fiber optic gradient. What I had done, because I knew I wanted to 2-ply, is, this is the rest of it. I split the whole thing down the center back when I started. And then what I did for the cops is I actually, you know, it was a big strip like this, and then I just broke it in half at the center point and did one and then the other. Actually, I'm not sure if it's entirely in half, but close enough. But that's why I wanted to, oh, you know, I told you guys there was yellow. I don't think there's any yellow. I think that was my leader, because there's no yellow in this. So, all right. You probably noticed that there was a day missing because I said I worked on that Saturday and Monday. Sunday, I worked on something else. Now, quite a while ago, when I was first thinking about moving in here and trying to feel a little more at home, I moved one of my spinning wheels to this house. And then it wasn't working right, and best friend's dad actually fixed it for me. And so I spun on it some. I had these crazy bats. I think they're actually called Crazy as a Bat or something like that. And I originally had thought it was one big bat, and it turned out it was actually a green bat and a multicolored bat. And so I spun part of the green bat, and it came out way more art yarny than I normally would do, and I was okay with it, but I never got back to it because I wasn't living here. Now, I have not spun on my wheel probably for 5 or 6 months. Well before I moved. No. Well, the last time I spun on my wheel was when I was testing the Acre Works bobbins. So, and that was on my Sonata. This was on my Interlude. Anyway, so I had spun part of the green. Well, I decided on Sunday that I was going to spin on the wheel. And my first goal was just to finish the green. And I was struggling and having fun, because when I first spun it, I was really struggling with this back because it's kind of chunky. Well, now suddenly it wanted to spin thin, so I was actually having to work at making it chunky, and I found out that if I did a true worsted, where you just kind of hold the fiber lightly and let the spinning wheel totally draw it in, it was making a fun yarn. So then I was enjoying myself, so then I decided, hey, I finished that one, I should go ahead and do the multicolored one. And so I actually finished both bats because they were thick and chunky and fun. And then I plied them together into a 2-ply. And so I have 98 yards of this totally squishy fun, and it's soft. I mean, it's got Angelina in it, which usually makes it scratchy, but it's soft. I already picked what cowl I'm going to make with this. So, and it should be an easy, fun, because it goes from worsted to chunky to super chunky, depending on where you're at. And it should not be anything that has a whole lot of definition, because it's just fun the way it is. So there's 98 yards of this. I then had leftover green, because since the two balls were totally fun and not at all, they weren't precision. So I had more green left over. And the green toward the end was actually more thin again, because I had been working on it for a while. I Navajo plied that, or chain plied it. So this is a 3-ply chain plied, probably a sport weight worsted, and it's only 26 yards, but I figure it will be a good accent to something. So that was what I did Sunday. So I actually ended up spinning for quite a while on Sunday. It was fun. I mean, I was having a good time. All right. Other things I wanted to tell you. Oh, let me post pictures of that real quick. All right. I have like random things to tell you then. One of the things I was going to just mention, I am watching a lot less podcasts. And that is absolutely no offense to anybody out there in the podcast world. Quite a while ago, if people went to YouTube only, I really struggled to keep up with them because YouTube does not play well in our house. It chops. Netflix plays okay, but they must have some other algorithm for how to buffer. Shh. But YouTube does not play very well here. And also, YouTube's just not where I spend my time when I'm home. Hi. I am not talking to you. I'm talking to the people. So anyway, that actually happened a while back. There's a couple of people I try to go see periodically when I'm at work and I'm doing data entry. I might put somebody's podcast on in the background, but generally not so much. Well, then what I really like doing is putting stuff on Downcast and then listening to it in the car while I drive to work. I don't drive by myself anymore most days. Because we live together, we carpool. And even though we were together quite a bit before, now it's every day, we're carpooling. So I don't listen to podcasts on the way to or from work. Plus, our internet speed sucks. So downloading an episode of like Geeky Girl Knits literally takes 8 hours. So my podcast list is now down to a really small list because it has to be somebody I really, 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 really like and want to put in the time for downloading. So I'm down to Geeky Girls, Knit Girls. Stop that! She likes crunchy plastic and she's gnawing at the plastic from the fiber optic. Dramatic Knits, Round the Twist with Karen. I do 90% knitting and Knitworthy podcast. I do also download my own, and that's because I know some podcasters don't like watching their own videos. I actually always watch them. I might not watch them immediately, but I watch them through because I want to make sure that the video actually worked. Lately I have less problems, so I don't watch it immediately, but also because I have to give presentations at work, it helps me actually study myself, if that makes any sense. I have learned that when I think I say something stupid, oftentimes I actually haven't said something as stupid as I thought. I also sometimes realize that I made a total mistake, but most of the time it works the other way. And it's just also helped me poise better. So I actually do watch mine. But yeah, my podcast list has gone down. Also, if they are smaller download files, that's a whole lot better. There was one recently that was actually a gig, and it still hasn't finished downloading, also because our Wi-Fi was down. So I may actually have to skip it. Oh, Amy Beth, Fat Squirrel Speaks. That's the other one. I'm like, I know there's somebody else. So yeah, otherwise, if I haven't watched a podcast or commented or something like that, I'm really sorry. I don't have the time to download. I don't have the time to watch. All right. I was also going to tell you, speaking of podcasts, Sarah, Rain Lover Knits, who has the Raindrop Knits podcast on YouTube, which is one that I will try and catch up on if I can at work. Sort of a Knitter is another one that if I have time, I will stick on in the background. And then I usually just watch whatever is the most current when I don't try and catch up. Anyway, Sarah, Raindrop Knits, Rain Lover, she did the virtual 5K. That she was the sponsor of the Woolly Trot 5K that I did at the end of May. She is doing another one this fall. So I will link in the show notes to the Ravelry thread where she is talking about it. So, and instead of doing a like an Indiegogo or anything like that, she's just gonna do it, coordinate it. If you want swag, you want a backpack, a t-shirt, a medal, she has an Etsy shop for those. So yeah, that's everything. Still reading Jurassic Park. I'm at 80%. I do like my new Kindle Paperwhite. There was a small part of me thinking, do I really need a new Kindle? But I actually do like the backlighting. And you can adjust quite a bit in how much backlight you want. So I really like it. And so I'm 80% Jurassic Park. The next thing I read will probably be something that's related to work. I don't have to read it, but a bunch of our product managers are reading this book, and I feel like I should at least see and understand where their heads are at. So I might do that. All right. Now, there haven't been any new additions in the What Do You Want Me to Share thread. However, I had a few different questions and comments come through about my ball winder that was in the background. So I thought, why not share with you a little bit about the ball winder? It is a Stanwood Needlecraft large size ball winder. Now the large size is metal with these big nylon gears. Both the arm and the spool rotate, meaning that you can wind balls of yarn really fast. I mean, you're not moving your arm fast, but they actually wind fast because both parts are moving and it goes. And you can do big balls. A 8-ounce Yowza What a Skein fits on there. Perfect. So between when I was doing my 30-day sweater a couple years ago, which was with the What a Skein 8-ounce balls, and having hand spun in larger quantities, I really like having this large size one. I do still have my Royal. If I am doing something smaller, like lace, sometimes I will use this one. I haven't tried lace on the big one. I probably will at some point, but I'm not doing any lace right now. So, but I filmed a little bit for this, so let me pause and put that in. All right, because there were some questions about my ball winder that was in the background, I figured I would talk a little bit about it. It is the large Stanwood fiber ball winder. By now I've already put in pictures. So just to kind of show you like how quiet it is, I figured I would film a little bit. Now this is a skein of Red Heart that I have used a good chunk of it. And so I'm just going to, when I get to this point, I wind it in a ball anyway. So I'm just going to wind it and film it so you can kind of see how nice the ball winder is. All right. All right, I have the first arm, and then there's this other arm. Just like any other ball winder. I put the yarn there. Now I usually go one time around just to make sure. I don't have a very good setup here because I still have boxes over here, you can tell. But I like to go one time around and make sure I catch my tail. Alright. So I mean, it's fairly quiet. Sometimes this arm will jump a little bit. There is a screw on the bottom to tighten it. Usually with my normal setup, I actually hold that arm gently, but I don't have my usual setup right now. But you can hear that this is fairly quiet. I mean, obviously you can hear it, but it's not horrible. This is the section of the yarn that isn't really done. It's not unpacked. So, I'm gonna change this over. Alright, so there was a little movie magic there with the time-lapse photography for winding both of these. But really, it actually winds very quick. I just didn't think you'd want to watch it for 2 minutes. But each of these wound in about 2 to 3 minutes. There, it has enough rotation on it that it winds very quickly. So, I just wanted to share that with you. Thank you. Bye. Alright, here are the two balls I wound out. These are just, with the Sophie, I'm using Red Heart Super Saver. No. And I actually said this wrong in the little video. I am using Bernat Super Value. Anyway, they're similar, but they're different. Usually I just use the big skein as it comes and pull from the inside, but eventually they become that floppy mess I showed you. So there's a point where I will wind them into cakes and work from them that way. So I was due to do these anyway. But I really like this ball winder. It is fairly quiet. I did mention in the video that sometimes I have to hold this arm down, but you know, you can tighten the nut. While I was talking, I tightened the nut, and it turned out that the entire time I did these, I did not have to hold that arm down at all. It stayed put. So maybe it just was due for a tightening the last time, and I should have just tightened it. But my favorite ball winder. Now, I'm going to put two links. One is the Amazon link. I will give it to you because you can see reviews from other people. However, from what I can see, I don't know about shipping because Amazon has free shipping. Well, it has Prime shipping, and then usually if it's Prime, it also has free shipping if you're over $25 or something like that. Well, this easily is. But the last time I checked, the winder itself was significantly cheaper on the Stanwood site. So, but I don't know what the shipping was like because you had to actually like start filling in and making an account in order to check the shipping. So, unless I just missed it, but I didn't see anywhere where you could do it until you checked out, and I didn't want to go that far. So, I'll put both links. They do make smaller winders, but they're more like this style. Only the large comes in this metal. So, all right. When I do the Amazon link, it will be an Amazon affiliate link. I don't normally talk about that much, but all my links for Amazon I usually try and actually write behind it Amazon or Amazon affiliate, something like that, because just so you know, a little bit can possibly come back to me if you go through the site. Honestly, I almost never make anything off the site. We don't even remember. Our best friend actually always apologizes because he never remembers to go through the site. And we have different accounts, so he should. But we never think of it. But if you do, a little bit comes back. Not much. I've actually considered pulling it off, but I figure it's not hurting anything either. I think that's everything. At the end, I'm going to show you pictures of a doll Mom made. In the pictures, there's a girl doll, woman, female doll, whatever, who is dressed and she's sitting on a horse and she's got her riding costume on. Then there is the guy doll. That is actually my mom's original Ken doll from when she was a kid with the flocked hair. And she made him a riding outfit so that they could go together. Now, when she makes the dresses, they are usually based on a pattern from Paradise Dolls, and then she of course embellishes and changes colors and does all her magic to them. When she does anything for the male dolls, they are all purely her designs, because there aren't really any designs for the male dolls. So it's her Fox Hunt set. And in the Tigger here, in the background, she's been making sets by getting posters from a place online. I don't remember what it is. I'm almost thinking it's something like posters.com, but I might be wrong. The poster behind it had people getting ready for a fox hunt, and just by pure coincidence, the doll had long been done and had been sitting on the shelf. By pure coincidence, the people in the women in the background are wearing very similar dresses, so it worked really well. But she's been getting posters of different backgrounds so that she can kind of divide up her dolls into scenes. So, and I don't think I ever showed you the Jackie Kennedy doll. If I have the pictures handy, I will post those also. There was an event where JFK and Jackie went and saw the Mona Lisa, and the dress is designed to be the same as that one, and she has a JFK doll, so she has a little scene with them with the Mona Lisa. So, all right, now that's everything. I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.